that he's a Zionist. There's a video of him actually admitting to that. He's a multi-millionaire. He owns many sunbed shops. His house is worth about $3 million, and he's a landlord of about 10 properties. He's somebody that cannot be trusted at all. And he used to take the piss of British people when people used to send him donations. And there's videos of him online going, stupid people sending me 5,000. I don't need the money and all the rest of it. But no, I don't like Tommy Robinson.
And this is from someone who actually used to like Tommy Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Jew anyway. He's Jewish. Well, I've just explained that Tommy Robinson is a Zionist puppet. He works for the Israeli government, and he absolutely hates his country. He doesn't necessarily like the people. He's working for a foreign power. He's working for the same people as what Boris Johnson and Donald Trump is working for, which is a deep state. And his job really is to lead the nationalist movement into a certain direction. And it works in some sense. Do I like Jews? You get good and bad in all communities, but there is a small percentage of Jews, a very, very tiny percentage, which are basically ruling the world and committing and developing wars and starvation, things like that, which doesn't need to happen. They're in ultimate control in every element of your life, from medicine to gambling to the media to the news to food products to medicine to politics to supermarkets. They control every aspect of your life, and I don't feel that such a tiny community should have virtually control of nearly 98% of the world's assets. I think it's a very, very dangerous scenario. Jews are in most countries. Jews are not white anyway. Jews are mongrels. They're mixed race.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And when you ever find all these shooters that go around in America, and they go into like a school and start shooting, and people go, it's a white supremacist. If you actually look into the history of that you normally young men, normally the Jews that are doing this, they have a real hatred for white people. They're racist against the whites. If you ever call a Jew a white person, it's very, very offensive. It's actually deemed as being racist because they're non-whites. They're not white. That's
no.
They're just not.
I don't think we should bring guns into the UK. No way.
I think it's important that citizens are able to arm themselves, definitely. However, we've already got an issue with knives, and even if America did legalise guns, then they would just follow what England's doing. We've got issues with machetes, with acid, with knives and everything else. When you import the third world, they bring third world problems. The safest countries in the world are the ones that have or do not tolerate mass uncontrolled immigration. If you look at Poland, if you look at Hungary, if you look at Japan, they don't have terrorist attacks because they don't have uncontrolled immigration to their countries.
Yeah, they should bring back the death sentence. Yeah, I think they should. And I think also all the paedophiles, they should be the ones sent to war. Not normal people. The paedophiles, if they want to do things like that, send them bastards to war. Fucking stone them to death.
Well, the thing is, you see, technology's changed nowadays. So, now we've got CCTV and, we've got technology which, for example, if a murderer goes into a shopping centre and murders a little baby, and if it's on CCTV, and then why not? Why not, bring the death penalty into a situation like that? Because you've got the evidence there and then. Back 70, 80 years ago, a lot of people were murdered and hung, and they actually were found not guilty. Nowadays, we've got the technology to be able to fathom that out.
I think if you kill someone, then that family should decide on how you what happens to you next, because they're the ones that have to live with that for the rest of their lives. So it's like if someone killed my son and it was accidental, do you know what I mean? It's different. They shouldn't get the death sentence. Do you know what I mean? Because we all fight, we all black out when we fight. We don't all know what we're doing. We can all be influenced as well and to do silly things. Do you know what I mean? And I always...
Well, yeah. You have to be a bit. You have to be wary of that, because don't forget the UK is a very divided nation. Around 50% of the UK population are liberals, and they will probably turn around and go, well, the murderer deserves a second chance, and maybe if we just spoke to them, they'll just say sorry and we can allow them back out on the streets again. This is the mentality that we're living with now. So that, in a way, could be quite a dangerous situation.
No, I'm not about the government do it. I think that the family should be...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Look, there has been mothers and fathers who have lost sons and daughters to like terrorism and stuff like that, and they've turned around a week later and said, well, I think actually the attacker should be given a second chance. They shouldn't be imprisoned because they're liberals. Do you know what I mean? And they believe that they did wrong, but maybe actually they're a good person deep down. This is what we're dealing with.
No, I mean, like, not stuff like bombists and that. I mean, like, just general killing. Because if someone killed my son, I want them to suffer the same way. Trust me. I believe in eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I believe in that. Actually, if you killed my son, I will come and kill the person closest to you, and I will keep you alive, so you can live every single minute of your life knowing that that person you love, is dead because of your actions. That's the way it has to be like. That's the way I am. That's the way I've been brought up, and that's the way I've been brought by all my mates.
Yeah, I'm not coming on that app no more. There's too much grief, too much stress. Yeah, if you want to talk to me, talk to me on Facebook, I'm not coming on my app no more.
Did you hear that? Gina?
What was that Simon said?
Warning. Can you hear it?
DJ, listen, I'm not coming on that app no more. There's too much grief, too much stress. Yeah, if you want to talk to me, talk to me on Facebook, I'm not coming on my app no more.
Oh, that's good. What can we do to prevent it? Well, we've got 35,000 jihadis living in the UK at the moment, ISIS members. What we can first of all do is deport them. Secondly, we close down all of the mosques and Sharia courts and everything else. Thirdly, we stop all immigration to the UK from any country. All immigration must stop. Fourthly, any foreign-born criminals will be deported out of this country. Fifthly, if you had let's say a Pakistani that was born in this country, they would then be deported to where their ancestors came from. So that would be their mother or father. If the mother and father came to the UK 30 years ago and they've got, say, Bangladeshi background, they would then be deported. I would give all police guns, and they would also have things like, fucking pepper sprays, stun guns, a whole lot. Because I think in this day and age, with the way terrorism is, I think, police officers walk around with fucking batons. When we've got people walking around with acid and fucking bombs and everything else, is not suitable. And I would make sentences a lot stricter. I would probably look at the death penalty, and I'd make sure that prisons is not a fucking holiday camp. Parents on for the English, I'm transgender and I get bullied.
Well, you know that song, I Am What I Am? Just sing that.
Well, yeah, you see, that's another thing, you see. All these LGBT people that have been saying, we should be loving to Islam. Well, what people have to understand is Islam and Muslims is not compatible with the LGBT community. They're very, very different. So liberals who are sitting on the fence trying to please the Muslims and the gays, they're going to have to take a side, because, as I say, Muslims and being gay is not compatible. You know, if you're gay in Pakistan or Saudi Arabia, you're going to be stoned, you're going to be killed. It's as simple as that. In terms of being homophobic attacks in the UK, well, that's going to increase, because as more and more people from the third world, i.e. Africa and the Middle East, keep moving to the UK, and as I say, we're going to have 78 million of them moving to the UK over the next 20 years, homophobic attacks is only going to rise, and it's going to rise massively.
Well, they've kind of took a bit of control, because, you know, when they're like, there's been like some strikes and that, you know, outside schools and that, where they're saying they're not teaching same-sex marriage and stuff like that, yeah? Or they stopped them from doing it outside the schools. They have to do it like 3 streets down. So they are listening a bit, trust me. And some schools are just ignoring the parents and just doing it anyway, you know, because we've got some of the books in our school.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, there's things I agree with, things I don't agree with, and I don't think protesting next to a school is a good idea. You know, let kids just be educated in schools and not have any disturbances. But you're living in somewhere like Blackpool, so there's a lot of uneducated people living in Blackpool. You know, there's a lack of jobs, and there's a lot of crime. There's a lot of people that are homeless and all that type of stuff. So
who lives in Blackpool?
This guy called Ryan Windsor, that's in the chat. So it is very difficult. You would need to probably look at moving out, you know, to a slightly more. I would look at moving to a city, like a student place, like Bournemouth or Brighton or somewhere like that, where you've got a high majority of white Europeans, which is gay friendly. Somewhere like Bristol would be quite good, or even York, somewhere like that. But sadly, the future is not looking good for anybody in this country.
Well, it's enough to give you a fucking nightmare. Do you know what, right? I went out last weekend to Adam's sister's, right, to a birthday party, and she made some punch. And you know, everyone that drank the punch all had a nightmare that night. Check that out, even me.
Shit.
My nightmare was like something. You ever watched The Hostel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my nightmare was like that. I seen this woman with brown hair walking, and then she just never seen her through most of my dream. And then I was on a train, and it broke down. And it says, oh, go out and have a fag or whatever. And we thought, oh, we're going to look around this abandoned building. I went into a room, and there was a woman, the same woman that I seen at the beginning of my dream, laid on the bed. She had like white cloths on her hands. I moved the blanket, and there was no inside in her, with all pipes and that. And I could hear these people coming, and I had the kids with me. And oh my God. And it's one of them dreams that wouldn't go away. No matter how much you kept yourself awake, and I went to sleep.
I think you've been watching too many horror films. I think it's beginning to affect you.
I don't watch horror films. Seriously. I had to go and see counselling over horror films.
Well, look at The Exorcist. I mean, when The Exorcist was filmed, and a lot of people like The Exorcist that were in that film, they ended up dying, didn't they, through really weird circumstances, including that little girl that vomited.
No, mine was like craziness. I was marrying Freddy Krueger when I was like 10 years old, and you know, like weird stuff like that. I'd walk down the aisle and I'd have all the horror people there. My dreams used to be crazy.
This Ryan Windsor is Jester. I know it's Jester that's doing this. He's fucking around, this little fucker.
You know what, she made it herself though. She did make it herself though. This punch, seriously, it was mad. And I wasn't the only one who had this nightmare. Every single person had a nightmare.
And by the way, Ryan Windsor, if you was transgendered people don't say mate. It's just not a thing that transgendered guys and girls would actually say. I know it's Jester that's doing this. It could be you from Liverpool, or it's fucking Fighter, but it's somebody taking the piss. It's quite funny, really. Well, jump in a box then. Let's hear your voice. Jump in a box. No, I don't think it would be. No, it's someone we know. Someone taking. It's a brand new account as well. I'm in the bath, darling. Yeah, it's Jester. It's quite good because I don't mind stuff like that because it keeps the conversation going. So it don't really bother me.
Yeah.
It's to talk about. But no, I remember watching things like Freddy Krueger and Halloween. You see, Child's Play used to really affect me. You know, the first few Child Play films that came out, you know, with Chucky.
Yeah.
But then it started getting a bit silly because then you had the little transsexual doll, which was actually quite funny. I used to like watching the Gremlins and, you know, all the traditional...
Did you see him with his pair of springs on as well? Nice springs. Chucky's, I want the kid of Chucky. I want to get that doll. I need to get that doll because I've got...
Yeah.
Such better for you.
Brilliant. That's good, Jay. There is a new challenge film this year that's come out.
I've got the Chucky one, collector's one. They're good. And see the Annabelle doll. I don't like that. I don't like dolls. That's why them Chucky dolls are hidden away, so I can't see them. But Freddy Krueger, he's actually got my makeup side. He's sent on my makeup thing.
Have you ever done a Ouija board before?
Yeah, I used to do them on graveyard. The best ones are the ones, you know, if you get your mirror, right, put your mirror down and do the alphabet with writing on it and put it round the mirror and then yes and no, you use a wine glass. That's the best way to do it.
Did anything used to happen?
A transgender white witch.
I'll tell you a story, right? We went on a Ouija board, right? And there was about 4 of us. And the person called someone up, right? Called Malachi. I don't know if you've ever heard of someone called Malachi. It's meant to be the devil's son. But one of my mates, right? He turned around and says he was actually going to run the person's mum over with his motorbike. Do you know he actually died on his motorbike? My cousin says he would stab him with his dick. Do you know he got stabbed? I was
Really?
like, fuck this. Yeah, seriously. And also, there was loads of us, we went on a Ouija board. The last time I went on one, my mate died on a motorbike, and apparently it was him. And he turned around and said, tell my brother that he's going to have a crash. You know, about 6 years later, he actually killed my ex-boyfriend in a car accident when I was younger.
Wow.
Seriously, crazy.
Well, I remember when I was about 14, I did a Ouija board. It was on us. It was about 10 o'clock at night. It was in like November, so it was dark, and we did it in front of a school. And we was all sat there. When we was doing this Ouija board, my mate kept saying, "Oh, I can feel something wriggling around inside my body." And he started going like really, really weird. He said, "Look, I really need to go to the toilet. I need to go to the toilet." So anyway, we packed up, went back to his house, and then whilst we were sat downstairs, he just screamed, and his mum went upstairs, and all he did was shat worms. Just all worms came out of his body. It was really fucked up. He just shat worms.
My dad was obsessed with them. He's got a proper Ouija board. He used to sit like at night time, 1 o'clock in the morning, all on his own and play it. My dad was crazy like that. I used to play it. He got me into them. And I went to he always used to talk to one called Rosie, believe it or not. Right? And
Yeah,
she turned around and told me to get off the board because I was possessed. I ran off crying. And my cousin, she kept saying, no, I don't want to go on it. And it kept, because you always ask it, is there anyone in the room you want to talk to? And it kept going towards her. Now, she's got a kid with my mate's brother who died. And the glass was going towards her, and she said no. And the glass flung in the air and landed straight on her lap. She ran off crying. Yeah,
Shit.
my dad got me into it. Seriously,
Yeah, you're not looking
this certain fucking what you're meant to do, right? You're meant to get like incense sticks and candles. That's the only lighting you're meant to have. And you're meant to get, especially with a wine glass, right? And go to each corner of your room, or go out in the garden. We've even done that. Go to each corner of your garden, collect the spirits, right? Then you place the glass on it's better on a mirror. Place it down, right? And then put your finger, because no one can move the wine glass. And you'll know, because it will crack up there, and you'll know if it's worked, you know. Seriously, the scariest, you know, ain't no fucking messing around. I believe in them. After my mates died, my cousin, after what they said, and they died the way they said they was going to do, his mum.
Well, that's why Ouija boards are banned in this country to buy. You know, if you go to the Amazon website in America, you can buy Ouija boards left, right. So you go in a toy shop in America and buy them. But in this country, they were legal at one point. I think it was in like the 1960s and 50s. But there were so many weird things happening. You know, kids literally losing their minds from doing Ouija boards. You know, Ouija boards where they take them out of the box and they'd set on fire and all of this. In the end, the government banned them.
You are meant to ask them to leave. Seriously, and to say no, you've got to stay on that board till they accept to leave. Because if you lift that glass up, you're releasing them in your house. That's what they say. And you know, Nottingham, you know, like Radford and St Anne's and that, places like that, yeah, they've got a lot of like believers of black magic, like voodoo or whatever his name is, like voodoo kind of shit, where they believe in real black magic. They're the ones that are like a bit crazy, you know, with the guns and shit like that.
Yeah.
You get a lot of that in Nottingham.
Yeah, it's. I don't think I could do it nowadays. Yeah, I've had my days of doing stuff like Ouija boards. I mean, I always think, you know, Jester's possessed.
I'd
always thought that.
go again. I'd have another go, but not in my house. I would have another go. I'd like to have another go, because I've got things I'd like to see if I can call up, kind of thing.
Well, why don't you go to you and Adam should go to a proper spiritualist church in Nottingham, find out where your nearest one is, and it's normally on a Friday night, and you get people.
On a Wednesday. There's one on a Wednesday in Bradford. Right, I went there when I was younger, and I was peeled up out my face, and I went in there and it smelled like flowers, and it just freaked me out. You know, when I go in a church, right, English, I'm not even messing with you. When I go in a church, I get pins and needles in my legs, and then I start going out of breath, and I can't breathe, and I start panicking in them. Seriously, you know, now I have to take the children there. Yeah. Right. I swear to God, I panic. I freak out. It's like I start feeling sick, like I want to be sick. It's seriously crazy. I hate churches.
Well, spiritualist churches they're very different from a traditional Christian church. You know, spiritualist churches, yeah, you sing songs, but they're like, you know, like Bon Jovi, or you'll sing Lady in Red or something like that. They will do the Lord's Prayer when they're bringing the spirits into the actual church itself. But you know, spirituality isn't deemed necessarily as a religion. They just see that when you die, there is another world out there. There's a spiritual world, and you will, you know, turn into a spirit. That's all they believe in. But it's in a controlled, safe environment, and they don't. You know, you're not paying. It's not like you're going to some dodgy fucking clairvoyance. You go there, you give a donation of a couple of quid, and they'll contact the spirits. And if you're lucky enough, you'll be selected from the people that's inside that building.
Now, I know one in Bournemouth. There's a woman that she's quite nice actually. She don't do it for money. Do you know what she does? She goes on the Bournemouth bus, right, from one area to another. She stays on the bus and she goes up to people. And she went up to my mum's mate who she thought she had cancer, and went up to her and says to her, "Don't worry, you haven't got cancer," and got off the bus. Seriously, this woman, she doesn't make money out of it. She'll just tell you. She's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know someone like that. She's called Irene. She's known me since I was a kid. She does all that stuff that is spiritual church near me next to Aldi.
We've got a question. RJ would like to know how old we are to me and hey you. I'm in my between the ages of 30 and 40. How old are you, number one?
36.
Okay.
I don't mind. I'm an old fart.
Yeah.
I
don't give my exact age due to security reasons.
I don't care. I live my life. I'm proud of my age.
I don't feel my age anyway. I feel a lot younger.
People say to me I don't look 36. I still get asked ID for fags in Asda, so I can't be doing that bad.
Well, I got asked for ID when I bought a can of Red Bull the other day.
Sorry, takes the piss. Isn't it amazing?
Well,
Go out nightclub and at 15, 16 years old, never ever get fucking asked ID. As soon as you turn 18, they fucking want to know how old you are.
Yeah.
What's all that fucking about?
Well, Jester, we've been through this before, Mr. Ryan in Windsor. We've been through all of that before. You said I'm 6 foot. No, I'm not 6 foot.
Gave what away? Listen, I spent my life taking children out partying hard, going to raves. God, I remember when I was younger, I used to go and buy rave tickets and go to fucking raves in the middle of fucking. I used to go to what's that shop called? Forbidden Planet in Nottingham. I used to go and get me rave packs, go and buy a £50 ticket and go raving. With a bag full of fucking pills.
Actually, this could be Chris that's typing.
I always used to be in nick fucking cars, driving them, but I was never a fucking slag. That was the best thing about it. Always was with my boyfriend from 16 to 18. I was a good kid.
No, you just said babes.
I don't really care. I've had this game with people for years.
This is Chris. Jester would never say babes.
Yeah, I know, but then Jesse could be doing it to try and make out that it is Chris. This is kind of games, and the fact they've got Windsor in their username, do you know what I mean? And then they're saying they're a transsexual in Blackpool. I mean, you can't make it up.
I'm sure you've got to know number 7. You're pretending that's your girlfriend.
And to be honest, a transsexual wouldn't call themselves the name Ryan. Do you know what I mean? They'd call themselves like Cindy or Sandy or Sarah or something.
Oh, Sarah, thanks.
Well, believe it or not, the main name for a transsexual is Sarah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Hello, Ajay. I would have thought you'd be with your wife now. She's been stuck in the bathroom about 4 hours.
To blow up Dawn, that's why.
She'll be all pruned up when she gets out.
I think.
To blow up Dawn, that's why.
I don't know what's happened there. I broke it.
Yeah. You blown up yet?
Think of all the hot water she's wasted in that bath. Must be costing you a fortune.
You're sterilising her. You know I love a Dettol bath. I swear I love coming out of a Dettol bath. Do you have Dettol baths English?
Yeah, you know I do. I have one. I did have one today, but it was only I was in and out basically.
Do you have them, Jade?
I did once when I I had my first kid because I had stitches, but that's the only time I did.
I put my kids in Dettol baths. I love Dettol baths.
Well, there used to be a lad that I used to know, and he always had an itchy ass. And I don't know why, I don't know if he had fucking an infection or whatever, but, you know, he'd wipe himself properly, but he was always itching himself. And I said, look, start having a Dettol bath, and it cured him.
That's what I'm saying, Dettol baths are great.
Yeah, they get rid of all the bacteria and stuff. Cleans all your insides out.
I tried this face mask stuff, right, and all it is avocados and oats, right, and you put it on your face. Oh my god, after you've took it off, your face feels like you've had a facelift. Seriously,
Yeah.
it's fucking great.
That is Chris, isn't it?
I think so. It's a shame, really, because I'd rather Chris just comes on and just talks normally.
I know. We've just been saying that Chris, where's Chris at?
Yeah, he gets a bit weird at night. Backstabbers. Oh, don't start that again. Don't be so naughty, Chris.
Who's the backstabber?
This is where his mental health now, his chemical imbalance is beginning to change. In his brain, he goes from being talkative to being an evil, spiteful person. Causes arguments.
Right.
When are we going on holiday? Well, you can't even leave fucking Wall's End, can you? So, I don't think there'll be any holidays for you. You live in some kind of virtual dreamland. To Greece. Oh, God. Yeah, that's definitely Chris. He always has to give it away
Why
eventually.
Greece?
He likes Greece. Brings back good memories from when he was younger, when he was a happy teenager. Brings back good memories from when he was younger, when he was a happy phased around.
Come up, Chris.
I don't know how the fuck Paul can sleep for like 6 hours in the evening, wake up, and then he's not going to sleep again all night long. I mean, that's just too much.
That's why he gets so fat.
You see, even the strongest fucking sleeping tablets, if your body's just had that amount of sleep, that's just it's just ridiculous. Then why was he going to sleep so early? I tell you what it is with him, it's boredom, because he didn't have any tablets to have made him go to sleep. That was a natural sleep. Whereas what he should have done is, if he felt tired, he should have gone out for a walk, got back in for 7, 8 o'clock, and then took his tablets then.
But you know when he used to, it's all about cups though. It's all the cups that they have, because now they don't get money to go out and shit like that like they used to. They used to take him shopping or just for a drive and on holiday. They used to go abroad and that,
Yeah.
My mum used to come back with broken noses and all sorts, where they've attacked her.
Well, yeah, a mate of mine used to be a carer, and he used to go away on holiday. He used to have his arms broken and everything.
Yeah, seriously, my mum had one time, right, I can always remember, this was like, 'cause my mum got me in there, do you know what I mean, working there, but when she used to work there first, I used to always remember walking round Bullwall, right, and then I'd see my mum run past me, and I'd be like, what the fuck's she running past me? And this woman used to nick her on and say it was hers, you know, and just run out the shop with them. I used to see my mum running after her, shouting, give that bra back, give that bra back. I used to fucking hide, pretend I didn't know her.
Yeah.
And they don't think, you know, they hurt themselves. Like one woman, yeah, she wanted to go out that much, but she was poorly, and the staff kept saying to her, no, you can't go out. She refused that much. She literally, when the door shut, the door had cut her finger off, and she wasn't bothered about her finger. She wanted to go shopping, and she sat on the bus with her finger off, bleeding.
Fucking hell.
So they don't. That's what I mean. You know, Paul, if he wanted to flip, he'd knock it. Don't matter how hard you are. That man will do anything. He will bite you. He will. I've known him. Right. You know how you used to get the windows with the metal in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've known him to put heads through that English in Riverside, where Paul used to be.
Shit.
My dad was a DJ there, and he used to fucking hide. He used to shit his son.
Yeah.
Because he used to have a bar in Riverside. They had their own bar, so they could have a drink, and it would be like being in a bar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So all that's been cut now. So that's why he does nothing but sleep, because all that's been cut. He goes out once a week.
Well, yeah, that's interesting what that Ryan Winters just said. I just had an argument with my mother. Well, that's bullshit, because Chris's mother doesn't come back home till tomorrow. And then he said, I've got a Chinese. I don't know. I don't know if it is Chris. It seems to be somebody that's... And it's quite late for Chris to be up now. I wonder if it is Jester that's basically pretending that he is Chris.
Look, I'm his number 2 overall, and I'm always be his number 2.
Too tight to fucking think about it.
I fancy a bag of crisps.
It's just there, you got me.
Jump in a box and tell me who you are. Let's see how well you've done, Jester. Let's see.
May as well.